Hello and welcome to Talkin Jake. Happy New Year if this is your first day actually being a part of it. January 6th, okay. We will go through America's GM, Jim Bowden, has come out with his free agent team signing predictions the rest of the way. The top 15, okay, interesting number. Kind of round, kind of not at all. We'll hit a little football. Lions-Vikings was fun last night, and the playoff picture is set, but maybe that's going to be a lot more Wednesday. Honestly, the big news that's going around the office this morning is our friend Jeff Passan, or maybe former friend, because he'd like to think he'd let me know these things.
Ugh.
Our Yankees have been talking to Luis Arraez continually. What's the phrase he used? Throughout?
He said the Yankees and Padres continue to talk about a Luis Arraez trade.
What are they talking about?
So that implies multiple conversations and more than the typical they checked in.
So I guess I'll give you a tidbit on Luis Arraez in general and for my Yanks, and then get into America's GM Jim Bowden's article, as the walls of this building I think are starting to fight back. So if this is it, thank you, and we've had our fun, and make sure you're subscribed. The curious case of Luis Arraez. Where do we stand on him? I'm sure there's some things that could be clipped from me that would have an interesting stance on it. 3 straight batting titles. He won it last year. Pretty nuts. Wasn't Shohei second? That guy. 316, 354 with Miami, and then 314 last year. And I don't want to say felt like a malaise, but his year was never off the charts. Let me see if I get some month-to-month for you. Because in my head, maybe it started slow and it picked up. Yeah, 310, 342, 720 OPS, 321, 353, 769. So not insane. A nice August, September. Okay, so he had a lackluster middle of the season. June and July. OPS is in the 6s, and outside of that, he was kind of who you think he is. Or maybe I don't know who you think he is, because I think the part that's become interesting, when the original Luis Arraez trade from the Marlins happened, everyone was a little surprised. There wasn't a ton of big-time prospects involved. And it was also the Marlins that everyone was like, they took a grab bag, and everyone was like, well, the Marlins have so much to fix. And none of these kids were on a tight timeline that they were like, yeah, we'll just take a bunch of young guys and something will figure itself out. Maybe it will. But the interesting debate side of it is, what is Luis Arraez's real value? Because he doesn't play defense. He graded out horribly at first base last year. He's graded out horribly at second base in previous years. He's just the best contact bat in the game, which, if you're willing to use your DH position on Luis Arraez, which I'm not necessarily against, although the Yankees have their DH spot clogged, because I think hitting's hitting. If you're getting the production you need from different positions, why do you care? If Luis Arraez fits in as your DH, then you do that. But you do need production from elsewhere. His career high was 10 homers in 2023. Last year he hit 4. He does turn and pull on some balls, so I do wonder if there is a Yankee aspect of that. If you could get Luis Arraez to 10, 12 homers, that feels a little less weird than 4, or his 2 that he hit in 2021. I think the thing that's interesting is he was accumulating WAR in 2022 and 2023. He was a 4.2 BWAR and a 4.9 BWAR. Last year, 150 games, he came out to a 1 WAR player. And the other thing that makes it an interesting spin, Luis Arraez is starting to get paid. He made 10.6 last year. Do we know where the estimate is?
Well, we'll know kind of where everybody lands at the end of this week. Those numbers are due, but I think he's estimated around the 14 number for this year.
So for a 1 WAR player, that's not good. For a 3-time consecutive batting champion for a year or two, that could be okay. It's just, where does Luis Arraez land? And this is his last year, correct?
He would be a rental, yeah.
So 1 year, $14 million for Luis Arraez. I think it's easy to say from the fan perspective and be like, that's worth it, man. You can get a guy who's going to hit 314. What got you over there?
Luis Arraez. Do you know his full name?
I don't.
Luis Sanhel Arraez, and that Luis Angel Acuna. I was like,
oh, wow.
Different. You just put those names together, and that's the Acuna brother.
Yeah.
And that just kind of got me.
Okay.
More than it should.
Yeah, that got you, guy. All right. I'm into it. Comment your favorite name. I think we see the batting average and even the on-base percentage. Like last year, 346. That's nothing to scoff at. The year before, actually the 2 previous years in Miami and Minnesota, that's really what you're looking for. 354, 393, and 861 OPS. Yo. But the year before that, I think that's your more honest aim, because even for the best contact hitters in baseball, which Luis Arraez is, he hit 316 that year, which won the batting title in the AL, 375 on base, a 420 slugging for a 795 OPS. So he had 30-plus doubles in each of the past 3 years, which makes kind of those homers either put him over the top or not offensively. Defensively, I don't know. I think you just put him at second base and pray. Or maybe first base, but that gets scary.
Yeah. If you're the Yankees, I would assume the A lineup day is Arraez at second, and you hope for the best.
Well, that's the thing. They'd be trading for him as a second
They
baseman.
would
I'm
be.
still keeping my hat open to the rest of the league just in case this is Jeff Passan, not known for blowing smoke except off the field. I don't know if Jeff Passan smokes weed. I can ask him. He's probably got a... You remember his Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson story?
Yeah.
That was a whole deal. Well, another time. We'll get Brother Jeff soon.
It is better at first than second with Arraez.
Yeah, I mean, I guess first base, I know there's a lot of tricky plays a first baseman makes, but essentially at the end of the day, you have to catch the ball. He's listed 5'10", 175. Would love to get some updates on that.
Both ways.
Both ways. Both ways, kindly. For the Yankees, they've had bad defense at second base the past couple years, in Gleyber Torres, who also led off for them in a lot of big moments. And with the loss of Juan Soto, you're looking for that lefty-righty balance. Luis Arraez, not only does he plug in at second base, he's your leadoff hitter, and you have Aaron Judge second. So, batting average, I've been on a kick that it needs to be valued a little bit more. Because I think on-base percentage, I've been looking to get a stat that's like uncompetitive walks. You know, for the take guys in baseball, if you get thrown 5 balls in your first 4 pitches, you're going to walk. If you only really chase or swing inside the zone, that I think on-base numbers can get inflated, that when it's a moment that it matters, when there's runners on first and second or second and third and you have to pitch to someone, I think batting average matters more there, and we haven't fully embraced that yet. I hate to do this to my guy because, you know, I consider his brother a friend. Aaron Hicks, we got to watch a lot of him with the Yankees. His numbers also with runners on and I think the bases loaded were like scary bad. Which, again, it was a small sample size and some bad luck there. He got Verlander in the playoffs. It's cool.
Yeah. Bases loaded thing was weird.
But Aaron Hicks, his essentially his initial intention when he was hitting was trying to draw a walk. Like, that was kind of the first goal. With Luis Arraez, he's trying to hit. I just think the concept's pretty basic. If it is second and third, you need a hit. I think someone like Aaron Hicks's on-base percentage value goes down. If Aaron Judge is on deck, they're going to pitch to you. So if they're not going to walk you, then your batting average becomes a lot more relevant. So I think Luis Arraez has value in that factor, that every time that if it were the Yankees and they had to flip the lineup, it's like, okay, here comes Luis Arraez and Aaron Judge. I would be very interested to see how those at-bats would look, because Arraez doesn't walk a ton. 196 career walks, which I think Soto gets close to that in a season. 194 career strikeouts. So The man swings and hits the ball.
That walk rate has come down each of the last 4 seasons.
God.
2021, he walked 9% of the time. Pretty good, pretty solid rate there.
It's insane.
8.3, 5.7, and 3.6 this year.
It's insane what he does. 637 at-bats, 24 walks, 29 strikeouts. Yo. So I'll be interested to see what develops. If he goes to the Yankees, their lineup questions are somewhat done. It would be Luis Arraez, Aaron Judge, and then you're probably going Belly, Stanton, Austin Wells, Paul Goldschmidt, Dominguez. Obviously, those can get shuffled a little bit, but the Yankees would have their lineup. It would just be interesting. The Yankees that seem to make this commitment to defense, bring in Cody Bellinger, Glaber out, which we thought was part of the commitment. Jazz Chisholm, everyone kind of assumed he was going to second base, which I guess, the Yankee people are humming around the office that Arraez has played some third base. Would they put Jazz at second and Arraez at third? Is that punting third base? That doesn't seem to make sense. But I don't know. It seems like you made this intention to go get better defensively and go and become a better team without Juan Soto. That's every Yankees fans. If I bump into someone on the subway that knows, that's kind of the going away line right now. It's like, I think the team's better. And yeah, it's the offseason, and we got to tell ourselves that with Juan Soto gone. And the Yankees have done some strategic and good additions, but it would just be weird for the Yankees to come into next year. Man, that infield. Goldschmidt, sure, into it. Is 37. Mm-hmm. If it is Arraez, then it's Arraez, Volpe, Jazz Chisholm. And I don't know. I like Jazz Chisholm at third. I was impressed by what he showed, and I thought he could stick over there. It's obviously going to be on him to put in the work or see what level of third baseman he can turn into. But it's still going to be a first full season. Like I don't know, where can you really set the bar? And then Arraez at second base. I don't know. The numbers don't like it. Everyone that seems to have watched him doesn't like it. Mm-hmm. That I get it for the lineup. And, hey, if the defense is great everywhere else, that can work. But it just seems like it's a double. Like Yankee fans kind of convinced themselves they were going to get a third baseman. Jack Curry, who covers the Yankees and is very tuned in, made it seem like they want Jazz at third. The Yankees are also running out of money that, I don't know, I guess the office has a little juice today about Luis Arraez. I'm a little skeptical.
It's hard to imagine the Yankees, with the offseason they've had and all the tone shifts, and it seems like with the money freeing up and all that, pivoting to like, all right, we're not sacrificing infield defense like Glaber. There isn't a 1-year offer available to you. To then turn around and get Arraez. I know a little more contact and left-handed, and they are different players, but I am skeptical of them being serious about bringing a move like that to the finish line without it being like a good value play. Like the caveat of like, look, if the Padres are trading because they want to be rid of some 2025 salary and get whatever that return is, then like, yeah, him for free is interesting. Essentially for free is interesting, but
there's not a lot of guys that can hit. Well, there's nobody that hits like this. Production-wise, depending how you measure production, there's not a lot of guys that can provide what he provides. So, yeah, the salary dump side of it, which basically you're alluding to, there's some merit to it, but it's just such a mental hurdle. And I know the sport has come a long way from batting average. But it's also a really good batting average. And there's years where the on-base and OPS are there.
And ultimately, like this...
It's 1 year.
This salary dump for a team that's where the Padres are at, where I think they'd prefer to move off some amount of money. I would assume that preference is more about long-term money if they were to do a move that's salary dumpy. They're competitive.
Like, this guy's... I never actually use it. Baseball Reference has similarity scores for players at the bottom of their webpage. Like some of the names that pop up, like Wade Boggs. That's a Hall of Famer. Would we view him through a different lens? I mean, the fact that Arraez can't play defense hurts. This one's just a blind spot for me, so he'll be today's player of the day. Bill Madlock, you heard of him?
Name that I know I've heard. 3-time All-Star, 4-time batting title.
All-Star Game MVP.
1979 World Series. Good for Bill.
A lot of Pittsburgh, a lot of Cubs. Giants for 3, Dodgers for 3. Wow.
Didn't taste the AL till the end, basically.
Guys, go celebrate Bill Madlock. I didn't know he got down like this. Nicknamed the Mad Dog, obviously. Mad Dog Madlock.
And that's natural.
This ties into the Padres conundrum that I still have zero answers for. I don't know what they're going to do if they're dumping Luis Arraez. What are the Padres doing? And what are they bringing back? Are they in on Seong Kim to bring back? Are they in on Jurickson Profar to bring back? They have massive contracts with Bogarts, Machado, and Tatis. Cronenworth went from being a salary dump to a tradable salary to a kind of not tradable salary.
Yeah.
His contract is bizarre. That they've been silent this offseason, and I don't know what they're going to do. Cronenworth, actually, he's kind of DJing, man.
Yeah.
$12 million a year for the next till 2030.
It's good defense at least 2 spots.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to watch nerds debate who's a better baseball player, Cronenworth or Arraez. You got a guy that can play a lot of positions well. Seong Kim, who's a free agent. Technically, he grades out better than Arraez, at least last year. Probably the last 2.
Yeah.
Wow,
So I don't 3 very different prototypes of players.
Baseball, it's the beauty of it. I'm interested to see what happens. I would be excited and understand the Yankees' thought process if it happens. I don't see that happening, whether it's financial or fit or other, or just believing that the Yankees. Again, I guess the concept, even for being doing young man things, Shannon Sharp, for doing young man things with baseball statistics, a 3-time batting champ, consecutive, he's just been rolling. That if you could have that person for free, even with some of the quote-unquote shortcomings, I don't know, over the past 3 years, 328, 371, a 797 OPS. If the Yankees can put that guy in front of Aaron Judge, you have the start to a really fun lineup. You have a fun way to start every game. I know that's not what it's all about. I don't buy it yet. I'm open to it. Let's see. Padres, no idea what you're doing. Currently, the bottom of their lineup is listed Turso, Ornelas, Campusano, my guy, and then Aggie Rosario. With a bench currently listed as Mike Brasso,
wow,
Tyler Wade, and Brandon Lockridge. So I don't know. I know the past couple years we've had some questions about the Padres' depth, and they've kind of done work late, and it seems like they might be doing that again. But it's just a question of what is that franchise doing? Are they making money? Does their ownership want to buy more players? That we'll see. And maybe America's GM Jim Bowden has some insight for us.
Whoa, BBD ad read, football fans. It is playoff time. We've got some exciting games to look forward to, and you can get in on all the playoff actions right now with our partners at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, they are offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5 when you use code BAKERS. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on the DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games as they happen, making watching the game that much more exciting. And if sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry, you can still join in on all the fun with the DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have a shot to win cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BAKERS. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code BAKERS only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Go always check him out at The Athletic. His article predicting where the top 15 MLB free agents will sign. And what a segue as I go from a potential Yankees-Padres trade, and BBD was getting a decent laugh out of this. Roki Sasaki is the number one free agent listed for some obvious reasons. He's 23 years old. The age really helps him there. You're going to get him essentially for free, some signing pool money. And he has, of the pitchers coming over from Japan, this was kind of supposed to be the guy. Like, sure, Yamamoto was supposed to be a guy. Imanaga kind of wasn't. Senga kind of wasn't. Sasaki's the guy that we've heard for a while because he kind of has the look. Like, he is a tall guy, long, throws hard, pumps gas. Like, no excuses. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, people were like, I don't know, he's a little guy. Is his body gonna fall apart? Is it gonna completely translate? Just a reminder, go check out his stats. It translated. He did get $300 million, so I guess people thought he was gonna be pretty damn good. But Roki Sasaki, a little younger, and I think a little more upside. This was the only player that Jim Bowden had a hedge on his prediction. He had the Yankees or the Padres, which those teams have been linked. The Padres, I do believe that Yu Darvish is like his pitching idol. The West Coast factor for a lot of these Japanese players helps. And there was a rumor for a little bit that he kind of wants to be a smaller market guy. But again, I don't know. Who knows where you're getting some of these things at some point. But on the other side of that, the Yankees doesn't help my argument. The only reason I could see Roki Sasaki picking the Yankees, because he essentially does get to handpick his team between the Dodgers, Padres, Cubs, Yankees, Mets, Rangers, and Giants are kind of the final possibilities there. The only reason Sasaki would pick the Yankees is if he wants the smoke. Second smoke reference. Whose podcast was that? Is that Steven Jackson? Who is all
Matt
of the
Barnes,
smoke?
All the smoke.
All the smoke pod. Ad. Yeah, Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. I see the clips. I don't tune in. Because, man, if Roki came to the Yankees, he would be their first. Is he their first Japanese player since Tanaka?
Yeah, Tanaka was after Kuroda, right? So,
yeah.
Yes.
And, I mean, Tanaka initially came over in what, 15?
I believe the 20, either 14 or 15.
14. So he would be the first newly introduced, at least like star high-level Japanese Yankee pitcher since Tanaka, who got introduced over a decade ago. I know he pitched into 2020. But with everything that's going on with the Dodgers, they have Shohei, they have Yamamoto, they just signed your guy Seong Kim. I think I'm saying that right. From South Korea. And they just signed whoever they want. Reminder, they signed Blake Snell. They signed Conforto as a bonus piece. Shohei's going to pitch this year. Dodgers doing well. Reminder. Roki Sasaki would want all of it. He'd want New York City. He'd want to be the guy. He'd want to get the ring. I'm sure he wants all of that wherever he goes, but obviously New York and the Yankees and the Pinstripes, they still hit a little different. I know we haven't been getting our rings recently. That the value prop with the Dodgers is very different. I mean, he doesn't have to come in and be the guy. I mean, he would be like their fifth starter, which is nuts. For the Padres, he'd be a guy, but they have other reliable starting pitchers for them. So do the Yankees, but I do think there's something. Yu Darvish has been on the Padres for a couple years. Ohtani and Yamamoto. For him to choose the Yankees, It would be a surprise, and it would change the Yankees' whole offseason. Oh, my God. Like, there was a day we daydreamed Carlos Rodon trades. Would that be on the table? Maybe. You just got a free starting pitcher. Not going to believe anything until I see it. It would be a huge win for any of the other teams who aren't the Dodgers. Padres need. Cubs would kind of be a game changer for them. Mets, sure. The burgeoning Mets. The Rangers, absolutely. I already think they are on the upslope, but that would be huge. And the Giants, who are trying to fend off the Dodgers and that whole division constantly. I am still kind of thinking it's Dodgers, which is nuts. Because, again, him being so cost-controlled just allows them to do whatever. I don't know. I mean, that's the one that I feel the least ability to comment on. When are we going to find out? Is January 15th a real thing, or is that
January
just made up in my
15th
head?
is when he's allowed to literally sign again, because his 45-day posting window had like the 30-day not allowed to sign window in the middle of it.
Sure.
So they started a little earlier than everyone thought. People thought they'd wait till the 15th for him to even do the posting. So I believe his deadline is January 23rd off the top of my head. So he has like a week after that to make the final choice.
So by the end of January, we think we know where Roki's going to be?
3 weeks from today, we will for sure know.
Okay. It's exciting. I haven't really gotten there yet. Because his free agency isn't normal. He gets to choose where he goes, and it doesn't really affect your team's money. For these other guys, number 2 is listed as Alex Bregman. He opens up the article saying he was surprised that Bregman turned down that 6 for 156, which is a bad sign. He mentions the Mets. That was originally the Daydream Bregman team. Like, he was going to change their identity. They went a little bigger than that. I don't think you can rule them out because that moves Mark Vientos to first base. There's options there. The Blue Jays have to do something. I don't think Alex Bregman is a fit. Their move has to be switch hitter lefty. We'll get to Santander. And everyone's in on the Tigers, which I just haven't figured out yet. Maybe if it's a creative contract that has the Bellinger opt-outs or something like that, but they're still paying Javi Baez so much money. They have so many young infielders. I don't see it. Everyone else does, so I'll leave it out there.
For some reason, like when the Tigers went to do the Glaber thing, I thought that was going to be okay, so Bregman is off the table, and it's only the chatter around it's only increased since then.
Some people think it's opened up the table, and maybe it has, and maybe we'll see in a little bit. Me and America's GM have the same favorite landing spot for Alex Bregman, and it is the Boston Red Sox. And you bring up the Red Sox lineup, it still looks somewhat comical how lefty they are. The Fangraphs Red Sox lineup starts with 5 of their 6 hitters being lefties. Duran, Devers, Casas, Trevor Story, your righty breaking that up. Yoshida, Wheeler Abreu, Connor Wong, Hamilton, Rafaela, a couple righties on the bench. Rob Ref, you know he's in there versus lefties, and he mashes. Okay? But if I'm the Boston Red Sox, a right-handed hitter is the answer somewhere in this lineup, somewhere in the top of this lineup. And I think Bregman would be perfect. I mean, if you could go Duran, Bregman, Devers, or if you'd prefer to go Duran, Devers, Bregman, and then Tristan Casas, and then you can use your Story to break up the lefties a little bit and dream on his hopeful comeback season. Bregman swing plays at Fenway. They're looking for the next move to put them over the top. Their rotation looks really good. Their bullpen looks really solid. Their lineup looks good. It's just not balanced. That Alex Bregman, you move Devers to first base. Just remove that Band-Aid. You have him signed for a long time. Have him become a high-quality first baseman. And then your infield defense improves. Your lineup improves. You're ready to compete. for the division if they sign Alex Bregman. So that's been the team that's jumped out for a while. I wonder if the Red Sox are being coy about it. I wonder if Bregman's market isn't going so hot. And I've wondered that about the next guy a little bit too. Because I'm going to go to Pete Alonso, who he does have at 4. And did all the first basemen get figured out? I don't think so. There's still teams out there. Mariners, but we haven't heard anything from them. The rumor this weekend was the Halos. I don't know. I guess you can never rule them out, right? That's the beauty of them.
They can do anything, anytime.
We got you this, Mike Trout. Ready to win some ball games? The Mets are still there. And I guess that's where things get a little tricky, too, because I talked about them in the Bregman game. Would they rather have Bregman than Alonso? Is that a better fit for the team? It's an interesting debate. Better defense at the hot corner. A reliable stick where Alonso's bat has more upside, but probably not that on the defensive side. I think you'd want Bregman in a vacuum. That's going to be interesting, man. People were looking at my Diamondbacks as potential dark horses for Pete. I have to admit, and if you've been listening to this show, you know I'm a little surprised that there hasn't been a bigger market for Alonso. When you're putting together your whiteboard of your team or your offensive goals for the years, like I remember the first time the Rays measured the season in innings instead of like 5 starting pitchers. The Rays were like, yeah, we need to get through this many innings. And everyone was like, whoa. Okay, Rays. Like if I'm a baseball team and I'm looking at, I need 250 home runs to be a good power hitting team and I can get 40 from one guy, I just thought thered be more appeal there. So maybe misread that, and maybe it seems like Pete's not going to age well, and I know he has some declining numbers. I still think a team is going to step up to the table that I don't think he's going to have to do a creative contract, but my sniff test has been wrong on Alonso so far. We'll see. I mentioned Anthony Santander. It's so funny that he's not getting a ton of buzz as a free agent. Blue Jays have been my team from the start. Stays in the division. You break up Bo and Vladdy. You've kind of created a top of the lineup. Now if one or two of your young guys click, you have a lineup. The Blue Jays, often a team that has to go an extra year to get the free agent they want. Santander is that kind of free agent between his age and people worried about his defense. That extra year probably gets the deal done. Toronto can do that. They've done that with Springer. They've done that with Ryu. I've loved Santander there from the start. I've always thought Houston is a dark horse team. I haven't always thought that. Recently, after the Kyle Tucker trade, seems like they have a spot for Santander that can make their lineup very scary. And the other teams that you're going to hear rumored on everyone. Halos, Los Cibido Gigantes. I don't know. What are those teams about? Giants, you shouldn't be lumped with them. I'm sorry. I take it back. Looking for a pitcher. How about our friend Jack Flaherty? Jack Flaherty, still a free agent. The year-end numbers last year, man. 3.17 ERA, 194 punchies. Listed as the best starting pitcher outside of Sasaki. And we talked about the tricks of that. And yeah, he mentions Flaherty's medical reports. We heard a rumor during trade season that a couple teams were out on Flaherty because of his medicals. So you wonder what that looks like, or if he'll have to go for a weird opt-out type deal, which I could see him being open to. If you do that right, you could still make your money with enough security. Although, in a way, he should feel like he's deserved this. He was one of the best young pitchers. He kind of worked his way back after going through the struggles. Teams linked: Cubs, Giants, Blue Jays. Giants, Blue Jays. Just ended with that. The team that I haven't had connected, and if they are, Jack, I would answer the phone, is the Atlanta Braves. He talks about Spencer Strider, who's going to be recovering and not ready for opening day. They lost Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton to your Baltimore Orioles. I don't know, Orioles. I'm not rooting against the Orioles. I want that out there, even if my deepest, darkest Yankee days. But they're starting to have one of those free agencies that the team better do something or you're going to be pissed. Charlie Morton, Sugano, Gary Sanchez, Tyler O'Neill. If you're an Orioles fan, would you rather just have one player that you look at and you're like, wow, we got him? I don't know. Charlie Morton has thrown the innings. He continues to pitch. And the other thing I've stumbled into is maybe just the Orioles their front office is respected, going back to some of the Houston days, that, like, I think depth is starting to get valued again. The Texas Rangers had a hurt rotation outside of their rotation when they won the World Series. The Dodgers had a fully injured rotation outside of their rotation when they won the World Series. That maybe the Orioles getting Sugano and Morton are just like, hey, someone's going to get hurt. I'd rather have more arms at $15 million than have one $30 million arm. I don't know if that's right, but I think that's what they're doing. Jack, if the Braves are calling, I like that a lot. I don't know what those dirty little Braves are up to, although I did hear a rumor about number 6 listed free agent and those Atlanta Braves, Tanner Scott. I'll say this for the Wake and Jake community because you guys are my people, and I appreciate you, and you're subscribing because right now I'm about to give you some inside info. I did have some birdies tell me Tanner Scott to the Braves. We'll see. This was a little while back. I have gotten info from said birdies before, so I'm interested on it. And you could see that being the Braves' direction. Like, that's a very high-end team move, adding to your bullpen. Raisel Iglesias. And, there was a while when I feel like the Braves had a bullpen you looked at and were like, whoa, they're going 8 deep. They have guys like Pierce Johnson has had some nice seasons. Aaron Bummer has had some nice seasons. Dylan Lee had a great season last year. I guess it's not the names that necessarily drive the fear into you, like it was with a couple of the past Braves teams, that I could see them adding a significant guy back there, and maybe that's the Tanner Scott landing area. And Tanner Scott's name sounds like a Brave. Is he from that area? Tanner Scott? No, Texas. Texas forever, my friend. Went to Notre Dame.
Born in Ohio.
Tanner. Went to college in Texas, transferred to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I feel like we need the whole story. People call him Scotty. Makes sense. Baseball. When I first heard that rumor, I was like, okay, this checks out. America's GM has him going to the Red Sox, and if they do that, I'll be a little sad. Other teams in the market for relief pitching. Again, I'm just going to stop saying Blue Jays and Giants. They're just looking to give people money. Dodgers, Rangers, and Diamondbacks. Yeah. Yes. I believe in my birdie. I'm going Tanner Scott Braves.
Tanner Scott went to Notre Dame College, different from the University of
That's
Notre
not
Dame.
Notre Dame.
When I clicked on the Wikipedia, it says not to be confused with the University of Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's in Indiana. Notre Dame College is in Ohio. What is this? Why would you even do that?
Did he get tricked?
Tanner Scott. The mystery continues.
It's a Division II team.
They're so out.
Their mascot is the Fearless.
No. They're out. No. Jurickson Profar, speaking of fearless. One of the weirder free agencies that could happen, a former top prospect who kind of found a major league role and is a solid contributing player, had one of the best seasons an outfielder could have last year at age 30. So what do you do with that? Padres seems to be where he's had his most success, including last year, that everyone's assuming that. I just don't know. He mentions the Red Sox, switch hitter. Sure. I mentioned they need a little more balance. Put him in left field. He hasn't graded out great, so you could hide Jurickson Profar. But if you're the Red Sox, it seems like there could be safer ways to spend your money. It's a San Diego reunion till it's not. Watch him be the Pirates' big get. Wouldn't that be it? Jim Bowden doesn't have that, but I do. Because I'm America's assistant GM. He also says the Braves would be a good fit. They have Kelenic and Brian De La Cruz right now listed in an outfield spot.
Add a third guy to that mix and bank on one.
But what are we paying
fully
Profar
working?
to be a guy in the Kelenic De La Cruz mix? I don't know. It's San Diego, and now I've daydreamt the Pirates. That's not Jim Bowden's words. Do not tweet at him and say Pirates and Profar. Actually, you can. He'd love it.
Yeah.
He just likes to chop it up. I might tweet that at him. Oh, should I start using Twitter the old-fashioned way?
Just opinion and tag a guy.
Hey, what do you think about Profar to the Pirates and tag Jim Bowden? I'm going to do that now. This one's just for me. What do you think about Profar to the Pirates?
Man, that's
Jim Bowden.
That's good alliteration there.
And that's just a tweet. That's how Twitter used to work, people. That tweet shouldn't get any engagement. Let's get through the rest of this. Kirby Yates, again, go check out how good his season last year was. 3.3 WAR from a reliever. That's really hard to do. I know my Diamondbacks really want him. They want him to replace Paul Sewald and have Martinez be their swing man. Yeah, it's a funky list. I'm seeing the Reds, Rangers, obviously Toronto's listed.
I guess hidden secret of both starting and relief pitching. Everyone could use another one.
Right. Just stay in Texas, right?
You would think they need him pretty bad, and it just worked for him.
Things worked out. I do know my Snakes want him.
Somebody's going to sign him and be happy they did, I think.
The other, before we start churning through, because there's a handful of pitchers coming up. Seong Kim, one of the weird mystery free agents because of his shoulder surgery, which has to have teams a little freaked out. The guy had a 5.8 WAR season in 2023, going back to all the Arraez conversations before. Obviously, offensively, the goal is for him to land around league average, and then everything else is a plus. Apparently, the Giants were in on him until they got Willy Adames. America's GM throws out the Red Sox, which gets interesting with Trevor Story and a couple of their prospects that are supposed to be on the way are middle infield-ish. That I don't know about that. He ends up landing on Padres, which, again, just brings us into this whole Padres, what's going on? Are they keeping Arraez? Do they have money to sign players? Are they trying to compete? Are they trading Dylan Cease? The Padres they're going in every direction at the same time, and that's kind of Preller's MO a little bit. But none of it makes sense to me.
None of it makes sense for them. None of it makes sense for Seong Kim. Every team that's had like legit rumors or buzz around like a pursuit of him has like already gone in a different direction. I think
Right.
Like Dodgers, they just signed the other Kim and retained Teoscar. Tigers went and got Glaber. Giants got Adames. Jays did that Andres Gimenez trade that nobody really likes for any party there. Basically just nobody knows where Seong Kim is going because his value is in a very weird spot, especially with the injury.
Yes. Yeah, I hope it doesn't end up in a bad spot for him. And maybe for him, unfortunately, he might have to do like a 1-year thing because people are freaked out by the shoulder. Like,
I wonder what he's asking for. Except if I were him, I would assume he wants an opportunity to re-up if he wanted to. This year will be his age 29 year, so there is kind of time to do that. I wonder with the shoulder injury, are teams nervous that for 2025, is he second base only? No idea. Well, with that injury to his throwing arm,
I would
long
guess
term or short term.
October 13th, surgery yesterday with Dr. Neil Elatrash.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Seong Kim is looking to get paid like a good starting shortstop, and I'm guessing teams aren't. So, again, the Padres part of this offseason, I still have no clue how they're going to connect their dots and if he's a part of it. Braves were connected for a while, and it doesn't seem like there's anything there. So, interested to see where Seong Kim goes. A guy that should fit on any team, whether you need a shortstop or not. Getting through the rest of the list, we have some pitchers. Carlos Estevez, forgot about the big man. Nice year last year, big boy, 26 saves. They have the Cubs. Again, you know the Giants and Blue Jays get listed along with the Rangers. Every team can use pitching. They have Cubs. I'd like that. Cubs, give me another move. Get me excited about you. Another reliever, or is he not? Jeff Hoffman. Following in the footsteps of Clay Holmes. So, wow, he has a deal to build off of. Right? He was kind of better than Clay Holmes.
Yeah.
We're trying to do the same thing here, transition to a starter. He has the Nationals doing that. It's kind of a fun, high-reward, low-risk, medium-risk move.
Team that could try that.
If you're paying a 32-year-old reliever to try to be a starter, and if it works, it works. I'm interested in that. Yeah, I'm now realizing, excuse me, all the pitchers are borderline awful conversations because it's every team. A team I haven't mentioned is the Royals for Jose Quintana. So if you're into that, really, really check in on yourself. Because that's the stuff. Verdugo and Justin Turner round out the list, which that kind of goes to show you things start getting thin quick. I see Pirates listed for Verdugo. That checks out. And Justin Turner, 1.5 WAR last year, age 40. He's got the Mariners making their move.
He's a guy who hit for them last year.
My goodness. The photo of Roki Sasaki in the article is from the Yomiuri Shimbun. It's listed in the article. I don't know. So let's see where free agency takes us. The Sasaki thing is going to be wild when that happens.
Sasaki week's almost here.
That team is getting a significant player. Changes their team's outlook for the next few years. Wonder if Santander, Alonso, or Bregman, who's going to drop first. I'd think Santander because he still has a few teams that fit. Switch hit. There's almost no... The question is the defense, but also it's corner outfield, and if you can find them a couple DH days, you're going to be all right. That I think Santander happens. Blue Jays would be funny. I'd have some old receipts on that. Let's see what else is out there. We are entering the quiet times of the baseball offseason, so watch out. Be scared. Oh, God. I was just going to read a guy's username who just tweeted at me, but is inappropriate. So I'm not going to read that. I will tell you again. Football this weekend was a weird one. There's like 1.5 games that mattered. It all ended late last night. Lions-Vikings. In Detroit. Place was going nuts. Tony Dungy said he never heard a louder environment. I don't know if that was true. Either way, it was raucous. ugly football at first. Divisional teams, they know each other well. Winner gets the 1 seed and a bye. Loser has to go to L.A. and play Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Pretty insane that it came down to that. But Lions end up rolling late. The Vikings in the red zone offense, I don't know if I've ever seen something like that on a football field. Darnold and the lads just couldn't find anything in the red zone. It was disgusting. There was one ball that hit Jefferson's hands that probably could have been a touchdown, and that would have changed things early. There's also another one where Addison looked like he was open in the flat instantly. Darnold just didn't see him. Tough Sam Darnold game. Also tough that this was coming after Kevin O'Connell, tall, handsome head coach that we were on first here at Talkin Jake. There's potential trade rumors with him that he might be valuable enough to be traded in the last year of his contract. Now the Vikings are heading on the road to the Rams for their playoff game. We'll do a bunch of football on Wednesday. Maybe we'll get Pennick, Chris Rose. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have time. But, yeah, it was a weird football Sunday. Carson Wentz. Nope. Josh Dobbs. All right. That was a lot. I'm late for a meeting. I have to use the bathroom pretty badly. I appreciate you guys. So does Uncle Dan.
Talkin Jake is a production of Dan Patrick Productions, John Boy Media, and Workhouse Media.